Hello, Trump Take 5 here. We got a lot to get through tonight. The new week has started for the Trump administration, and there is a lot going on. Remember, this channel is designed to help you keep in touch with everything important that happened yesterday in the Trump administration and the Trump presidency without all the BS and Trump fatigue that can come from that from watching TV news. Donald Trump himself made a move to designate North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism. The designation was taken away in 2008 by George W. Bush because he was trying to negotiate a nuclear deal to stop them from escalating their nuclear program. Trump described his move as a very large one, and this basically just hikes up the level of sanctions that will be levied against North Korea. Trump said that he is trying to further isolate the regime, the murderous regime, he called it. And depending on whether you think sanctions work or not, will decide whether this is a good move or a bad move. Trump also tweeted out about the NFL, urging them to suspend Marshawn Lynch for standing during the Mexican national anthem and then in turn sitting down during the U.S. national anthem. He made a false claim that attendance and ratings are way down for the NFL. That's actually not correct. And once again called for an athlete, an employee of the NFL, to be suspended from his job based on his exercising his First Amendment right. We talked yesterday about his tweet storm that involved Flake and the UCLA players in China. Kellyanne Conway, which I'm sure you know, made some interesting statements on Fox News. She was there she was asked about whether the White House supports Roy Moore, and she said, "We want the votes to pass tax reform." She went on to say that the Democrat in Alabama who's running against Moore will be a vote against tax cuts. She was interrupted by the host, and he asked, "So vote Roy Moore?" And she replied, "I'm telling you that we want the votes in the Senate to get this tax bill through." Now, this is troubling, and it's not just about the fact that Roy Moore definitely appears to be a child predator, but it's the strategy that stands out to me. Conway herself had made statements about how a Senate seat wasn't worth more than a child just a week ago. Now she's basically giving her followers and Trump's followers and supporters a free pass to walk it back. Without saying it, she's making an equivalency here. She's saying that he probably did do something wrong, but it isn't quite as bad as the prospect of getting a Democrat into the Senate who may oppose these tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy and corporations in the U.S. Based on your perception of the situation and what it actually means for a Democrat to be in that seat, you're now able to justify this vote, and that justification's coming from the top down. This is just about the same as Trump saying it himself. So, very dangerous times in politics when things like this are going on. This goes beyond standard partisan politics, I'd say. This is tasteless for either party or any party. Mick Mulvaney also spoke for Trump, saying he doesn't know who to believe, which also spreads that idea that, hey, you know what, maybe some of this isn't actually true, and the president is just doing his job being diligent and thorough in understanding the evidence. It's another kind of statement that if you want to believe it, it's going to sound true. Unfortunately, we know that the president of the United States, based on his behavior, does not operate that way. He reacts, and he has not reacted here for political reasons. We also learned today that the National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster, is said to have mocked Trump at a private dinner, calling him a dope and an idiot, and saying that he had the intelligence of a kindergartner. This was reported on by 5 people who witnessed the remarks, and is very similar to what we heard from his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, a few months ago. I mentioned yesterday that Robert Mueller, the special counsel, had subpoenaed the Department of Justice, and we know that more people are going to be talking. I talked about Rob Goldstein the other day. He's going to be coming to Washington to be interviewed, and we know that Hope Hicks and the White House lawyer Donald McGahn are also scheduled to meet with Mueller in the upcoming weeks. We also know that Donald Trump Jr. has been identified as meeting with what amounts to a Russian mafioso at an NRA event that hasn't been disclosed, and that is still sort of unfolding, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. That's what happened today. Please like this video, please share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for being here. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.